after that. So you can do let's do the stage intro, which is the second one down on the left, then the logo for like 5 seconds,
and
then center camera and point.
Okay, all right. I'm about to start it up right now.
Okay.
You guys ready? All right.
Hey, welcome to Stunner Stage. My name is Stunner. This is my stage. Tonight I'm hanging out with a pretty cool person, hell of a bass player, pretty darn good sound engineer, otherwise known as a squeak.
Yep.
Miss Tempest Crane. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Hey, so first and foremost, the biggest thing that I want to know, and the reason I started the podcast, I want to know, especially for people that have been doing this for a little while. Obviously, music means something to you. That's why we're still doing it where we're at in our lives. Where did music start for you? How old were you, and what was your first recollection of it? Really,
my first recollection of my utter fascination with music. I was probably like 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
I was born in 1969, which means I'm 56. So I'm not young. And back then they had these things called record clubs. And my mom belonged to one of them. And they were the old album-style record clubs.
Yep.
And you would get a bunch of free records, and then they'd send you a card every month that had like the record of the month. And if you didn't fill out the card and say you didn't want it and send it back, you would get automatically sent it and charged.
Yep.
And my mom belonged to one of those. And one time she got Kiss Destroyer sent to her.
Oh, well, hang on now. What did she usually order when she wanted a record? What was the music of the house?
I was 6 years old. I have no idea what she
Well,
usually
what was the other
ordered.
music of the house before you got the Kiss?
Dolly Parton,
Okay.
Cher, Johnny Cash.
All right, so she was standard. She was country standard.
Nebraska.
Yep.
So
okay.
yeah,
all right.
ABBA, Captain and Tennille, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Kiss Destroyer shows
Kiss
up.
Destroyer shows up, and it comes. My mom opens it, and if anybody's ever seen the album Kiss Destroyer, the artwork is phenomenal. I can't remember the artist. I used to know, but I can't remember. Phenomenal artist. Kiss in front of a city of flames, going over ruins, and it's just like this oil painting, and they're all in their costumes. They look like superheroes.
Yeah.
I was a kid. Keep that.
Yep.
I needed to have that. I don't know what this is, but I want it.
So you were more, just the album art alone captivated you. When did you actually get to hear it?
Well, I made her keep it, and I used to have a little 45 record player with a little insert thing, but it would also play LPs.
Yeah.
And I put it on, and I heard Kiss for the first time. And I'd never heard heavy metal. I didn't even know heavy metal existed.
Right, Dolly Parton and Cher.
Yeah, exactly. Dolly Parton and Cher. I did like Johnny Cash. I love Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yep.
But when I heard Kiss, it was life-altering. It was transformative because I'd never heard that. God of Thunder, Flaming Youth.
Detroit Rock City.
Yeah, Detroit Rock City. All of those great songs. And it was so big and so powerful. And I needed that in my life.
Yeah.
And right then and there, I decided I wanted to be Gene Simmons.
Okay.
Little did I know I'd end up wearing as much makeup as he does. So, but I didn't know what anybody played. He was the cool one. He was the badass looking one.
Right.
Whatever he's got going on, I want that in my
So
life.
at 6 years old, you're playing Kiss on your 45.
Not only that, but I'm running around the playground.
Okay.
Singing Kiss lyrics, probably terrifying the teachers and the other kids.
So do the parents like
steal your virgin soul and all this other stuff? And like,
did you get a Kiss T-shirt at 6 or 7?
No, but at probably around 7, I got this cheap ass plastic, probably Sears guitar, drugstore guitar, or something like that.
Okay.
It's nylon strings, plastic body. You couldn't tune it to save your life or anything.
But it sure added to the pantomime.
Like a white Western, Buck Rogers type, or Buck Owens type guitar.
Yeah.
And my mom got that for me because I was so fascinated with Kiss and all that type of stuff. So she got that for me, and I went to work on that thing.
Okay.
I got out the black and red magic markers. And I did that thing up, and I just all over Kiss artwork, flames, and just everything.
Awesome.
And for years and years, Kiss was my fascination band.
So what was the next step for you then? So obviously fascination with Kiss and the imagery and the music in general at 6. When did it transition into you wanting to actually play music, and then you actually taking that step? Was it like grade school?
It was immediate.
Okay.
It was as soon as I wanted to be Kiss.
Okay.
One of my best friends, a kid named Chris Novicki, he went on to be a drummer out in California, plays a lot of jazz stuff. He wanted to be Peter Criss, I wanted to be Gene Simmons.
Okay.
His parents bought him face paint, so we would paint our faces up every chance we get, and we'd mime out Kiss songs.
There you go.
With my red and black guitar that's all markered up, and he had kind of a little drum set, and we would go at it and just put on Kiss records as loud as we could and just pretend we were playing.
Yeah.
But once again, I was like 6, 7, 8.
So when you got into grade school, like for me, I started playing bugle when I was 3. I was playing my grandfather's bugle. When I got into first grade and we got our, music class, I think my first was like a cornet or a trumpet and then French horn. Did you have any of that?
Well, I was vehement about playing music, and I wanted an electric guitar. I wanted an electric guitar so
At 7.
at 7 or 8. Something
Okay,
like that.
gotcha.
I wanted electric.
Okay.
Really, really bad.
Yeah.
And my mom did what she thought was a compromise, which wasn't really a compromise. She got me a rented saxophone and music lessons for like a month, because I didn't know at the time. You got that free. The school kind of had an arrangement. You get the first month free and see if you can continue. I didn't like the saxophone. I wanted to play guitar.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the instrument. I didn't appreciate the instrument. And I a month went by and I pissed that away because it wasn't what I really wanted to do.
Right. Gotcha.
So to turn that story into something else, she never bought me an electric guitar, ever.
Okay.
And that is probably what solidified my playing music for the last 35 years. My mother, if you're out there listening to this, Mom, you did not buy me that electric guitar. So therefore, this is what happens. See, this is what happens. I played rock and roll music for 35 years because you didn't buy me that electric guitar when I was 7 years old, and I didn't get all dissuaded and bent out of shape because I couldn't play, and I didn't give it up. I had to wait until I was 16.
Gotcha.
Worked a shitty job at McDonald's flipping burgers. I was working night shifts, anything I could do to get money so I could buy electric guitar, and I decided on bass by that time. Because by 16, I had discovered another band that put Kiss in the back seat. And that was Motorhead.
Oh, there you go. So you started getting
I graduated from Kiss into Motorhead, and Motorhead's like, okay.
Yeah, all right.
This is real rock and roll.
So that's 16. When was your first concert that you ever went to? How old were you then?
I was probably 17.
So it was after Motorhead?
I lived in Devils Lake, North Dakota. We got nothing for concerts.
Okay.
But basically, you had to drive probably 130 miles any particular direction to find a concert.
But like, Mom never wanted to go to concerts, none of that stuff? Okay,
Nope.
gotcha.
My mother has never seen me play live.
Oh, wow.
I've been playing for 35 years, done over 2,000 shows. She has yet to come to one.
Wow.
She's still alive. Mom, there's hope for you.
So what was the first concert?
First concert was Rat. It was in, I believe, Bismarck, North Dakota.
Okay.
And a local legend of the Twin Cities got on as the opener. I can't remember who was supposed to open, but they weren't able to. And so a name you might be familiar with, Dare Force.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian Bart opened
Nice.
for Rat.
Now,
we went out there, we saw Rat and everything. And my very first album was recorded at Brian Bart's studio.
Which one was that?
That was Logic Studio, and that was Witness to It All.
Okay. All right. And that was the name of the album or the band?
That was the name of the album, and the band was Harsh Reality.
So Harsh Reality.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So now, did he record everything at Logic then? Drums and all that?
Yeah, he did everything at that time at Logic. And then he did my next album was, my studio album was Fairy Tale Life. And we did that in his studio. And I know now he doesn't do everything in his house because he moved and got different
Avalanche did one project with him, and it was really mastering. I mean, we had recorded in Faribault at Gemini Studios.
Okay.
But we wanted it mastered by Brian Bart. So that was my connection, young connection with Brian Bart. He's like the hero. He's like, Brian Bart, yeah.
He's a wizard of recording and
Yeah.
got some of the best ears in town.
Still to
Yeah.
this day. Yeah. So okay, so Rat with Dare Force, and you said that was in North Dakota or South
That was
Dakota?
in North Dakota. Yeah.
Okay. And give me something more about that show. What was the most captivating thing about the show? Was it Dare Force?
The most captive thing about that show, well, we didn't have much shows come through North Dakota at that time, and so you didn't have a whole lot to pick from. And the most captivating thing was a girl I had a crush on that wanted to go to it. So like, hell, I'm going to that show because I had the car.
Yeah, and how
So,
old were you? 17?
I was about 16, 17. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you got the car, you got the girl, you take her to her concert, you're like, here we go.
Yep. So,
All right. Cool. When you started playing guitar or bass, I
Bass,
should
yeah.
say, did you get a band going at that time? How did that all kind of transpire for you? Like,
Well,
since you started a little later than some.
as with a lot of things in rock and roll, I approached it completely without a plan whatsoever. So I had worked this job for like months and months and months, and I bought a pawn shop bass guitar. And there was a music shop in town. I can't remember the name of it. It was just a tiny music. They mostly sold like high school band stuff.
Yep.
But they did have a 15-inch speaker and a PV Century bass amp.
Okay.
And I knew I wanted a big amp even back then. So I went and bought that and got it home, and I realized I know nothing about this instrument. I don't even know how to tune it.
Oh, wow.
I was lucky enough to have a neighbor who had kind of a top 40 country western band. His name was Bob Johnson. The band was called the Johnsons. And he came over and he showed me how to set up the bass, how to tune it, how to try to keep it in tune. I wasn't really good at that because I never bought a tuner. It didn't occur to me at the time. And I would play that thing every chance I got, every single day.
And where were you playing? Motorhead? Kiss?
I was playing absolutely nothing whatsoever for the first couple months. I mean, I was just
Banging on it.
floundering around on it. And finally, I figured out how to play Louie Louie by Motorhead's cover of it.
Okay.
A 3-chord song. It took me weeks to learn because I didn't even understand tuning of instrument or anything like that.
Right.
So, and I would sit down, I would play like 6-8 times in a row. It was the only song I knew. And gradually I started figuring out, okay, if I can do that, then I figured out Paranoid. And from Paranoid, I figured out Iron Man. And so it just opened up little things.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
but like I say, the entire reason I've stuck with it for so long is I had to work for it. It wasn't given to me. If I had been given a guitar back when I was 7 years old, I would have probably played it, figured out I was no good at 7, and given up and gone on to something else.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but so at 12 years old, I worked very hard for a whole summer babysitting my little bratty little cousin, Mark, you know who you are. And I got myself a little harmony guitar from Montgomery Ward's. That was my payment for that hard work all summer. And I played a bunch. And then, you know, my best friend at the time was a guitar player that was way better than me. So the next thing you know, that guitar went away. But I didn't give up music. I found something else. I started singing, and then I got bored with singing. And I picked up my bass again. And, you know, so I evolved. And I think it sounds like the music was so important to you. I mean, so important that you worked your ass off at 16 to get a bass. Had that not been the case, if you would have got that guitar at 6, you might have been an Yngwie by 16 or 17.
Maybe, but
You know?
I look at myself as a kid and the way kids' attention spans are and things like that. I probably would have, tried it, and if I wasn't good at it, I would have probably gotten sad, like, okay, I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
So by the time I was 16, I had that I refused to give
Right,
up
right.
on
I'm gonna
things.
work on this.
Yeah,
I
this
like
is not
it,
a
yeah.
phase. I am doing this.
So what was your first band then?
My first band was kind of a little glam metal outfit. We called ourselves Blonde Threat.
Was that
that
in
was in the
North Dakota?
Dakotas, yeah.
Okay.
And then went on to be in a band called Gunshy, which was a cover band. And it was supposed to be a heavy metal cover band, but we ended up doing Doobie Brothers and Skinner and stuff
How'd that
like that.
make you feel?
Depressed, actually,
'Cause
it
your
wasn't what I
favorite
wasn't
band's
wanting
like-
to do. It wasn't heavy enough.
Yeah. I hear you.
And the guys in that band were all older than me, and they considered that the hard rock of the day. And I was already on the Motorhead and stuff like that. I'm like, no, this isn't heavy metal. This is
Yeah.
So
Okay. So what made you decide to leave the Dakotas and come here?
basically I escaped. I never wanted to be in the Dakotas.
Okay. All right.
I lived in Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and so if you imagine the state of North Dakota, okay, turn that into a big circle. Label that circle nowhere. Devil's Lake would be the middle of that.
Oh, fair.
So, I mean,
I've driven through.
Yeah, and hopefully you didn't run out of gas. So. I had a friend of mine that was just driving. She came through Chicago, stayed in Minneapolis for a little bit. We hung out, and then she was going on to Seattle, and she's like, "Well, I'm just going to drive through North Dakota and Montana." And I'm like, "All right, well, good luck with that."
Yeah.
And about 8 or 10 hours later, I get a phone call from her. She goes, "There's nothing here.
No,
There's nothing in this state.
There's nothing.
How did you live here?" So yeah. So I basically escaped.
And how old were you?
I was probably 20, 21, 22, something like that. I can't remember. It was about 94 when I got out of, I was going to college in Grand Forks. I had formed the kernel of what would become Harsh Reality.
Okay.
Harsh Reality started off in 1989. Very first show was literally at this deli bar, like a beer wine bar, and it was a deli, and the stage was literally, they had like a patio outside that was like upstairs, and it was down the stairs, and there was like a big stair landing. That was the stage.
Nice.
So there's like no stage or anything, but a Sprouts Deli. Okay. And Ken Scaletta and myself, Curtis Brettweiser and Roger, and I can't remember who we had on drums back then, formed the band. And it was Harsh Reality. And Danzig 1 had just come out.
Okay.
And that dark, swampy, bluesy sound. It was metal, but it was so dark and just had such hooks in it. And I really want to do stuff like that. And Ken goes, "Oh, you want to do stuff like that?" I'm like, "Okay." Well, he's explaining music theory to me. I'm like, "Oh, well, whatever." It's like, yeah, it's this kind of progression. We can do a song. We wrote a song called "I Am What I Am."
Right.
We still do that song today.
Nice.
It was a good song.
Okay.
It was completely,
because it had music theory in it.
Yeah.
So everybody understands that progression of chords. And it's like, oh, there you go. It's a good song.
And it had that Danzig feel to it. Even lyrically, the song "I Am What I Am" it's literally the translation of the Bible all the way through. It's Ken went into religious studies to have greater arguments with Christians.
Okay.
He was that type of guy. Right. So anyways.
It was that time too.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was Satan music or God music or, it wasn't let's party and get laid yet.
Yeah.
It was, you were metal. It's like, we got to talk about Satan.
You go that direction. So,
all right.
And we still do that song today. It was a good song, and it was so good, it stayed in the repertoire for 35 years.
Cool.
So,
very cool.
And Ken is still a friend of mine. He's still out there. Ken, if you tune in for this, thank you.
Awesome. So then you come down here, and when did you hit Minneapolis in?
It was 94, 95.
94, 95.
I brought the singer I was working with and the guitar player. That would be Abel and Odie.
So you the band decided to come here?
Basically I drafted them.
All right.
I get like, hey, we're moving to North Dakota. The drummer didn't come.
Okay.
But I got the singer and guitar player to believe in me enough to come down here.
Cool.
So that was kind of a big thing. Even the way Odie ended up in Harsh Reality back in the day was an interesting story, to say the least. I had the band going for a number of years, a couple of years anyway, and my singer had quit, and I needed a new singer, and Odie had been singing in some kind of punkish band, but I knew he had a good voice on him. Mm-hmm. I think he was only like 16 or 17. He was like a high school kid.
Right on.
And we used to practice in this building that had an arcade upstairs and had kind of like a teen center type thing going on. And I went up and I drafted him. I went up to him. He's playing Street Fighter or something in the arcade.
Oh, that was my favorite, like, Street Fighter 2.
Odie. He goes, what? I go, I need a singer. You're in the band. Practice is on Thursday. He's like, what? We got a gig in 2 weeks. Be there. So he's like, and he showed up. So,
that's awesome.
And then he played with me for the greater part of probably a good 25 years. So.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. So when you get here, and you came as a band, so Harsh Reality came as a band. Mm-hmm. What were some of the first bands that you saw here that inspired you to really go.
Well, we had a studio up above Ryan's,
Okay.
4th Street Station.
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of bands that play there. There's, I know Impaler was there, Regime. There's this little band. It's just this tiny band, but they're kind of impressive. I think they're called Avalanche or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we guilty. We did play above.
Yeah,
above
you
Ryan's.
guys were there a lot.
Yeah.
So, we were translating into a lot heavier. We had a bunch of covers in the set list back in the Dakotas because in order to play any place, that's what you did.
Yeah.
But we were going all original, and we hooked up with a drummer, Pete Zedler, who went into Hatred, a local band of some notoriety back then. But we hooked up with him. We went all original. New metal was hitting, so the band kind of had this identity crisis because some of the band members wanted to go more new metal style, and I was still Motorhead, old school metal. Yeah. But we managed to knock out the album. Witness to It All. We managed to play a whole ton of shows. One of the things about being up above Ryan's is whenever somebody would no-show or call in for a show they couldn't appear, they would just come upstairs and find whoever was practicing.
I love that. You just get a knock on the door. You guys busy tonight?
Can you guys play tonight? Sure, we'll come down.
It's Wednesday. You guys want to play tonight?
Throw our stuff in that
Throw you a
death
case
trap
of beer.
elevator. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I miss that place because I was talking to Greg, a couple weeks ago, and it's like, that was the musical community of St. Paul.
Yeah.
It really was.
It absolutely was.
You had a ton of other stuff going on in Minneapolis and whatever, but if you were a St. Paul band, you wanted to be in that building or you wanted to come hang out on Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
So that was, I feel very privileged to have been there. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But I also, one of the things that, like you were talking about from the Dakotas when you were doing covers and originals, because you had to do covers, we came up that way too, because the Regime, when I was 16, they were doing covers, and they were doing like Number of the Beast and Raven and all these different like
I've never
metal.
heard anybody cover Raven.
Oh, they did.
I used to
Take
love
Control.
Raven.
Take Control by Raven was the big one they did. But they did a bunch of that, Green Manalishi and all these great metal songs of like the early 80s. And then they were kind of like my heroes. So when Avalanche comes in, we followed that template, but we did it with Anthrax and Megadeth and Testament and Slayer. So
at one point, I think I played more Slayer than Slayer did.
There you go.
So I think we had like 12 Slayer songs.
But I love
on our
that you
list.
said you changed to being all original.
Yeah.
We never did that because we saw this draw of weekends and money and notoriety and beer and girls and whatever. So we never fully transitioned, and therefore we never fully played with all the Minneapolis metal bands or all that stuff. So we had a good strong niche, but we missed a lot. So with you going all original and kind of losing that, how did that translate to really getting out there with other original bands?
Well, the key is we just wouldn't say no.
Okay.
Anybody would offer us, so I would just say yes and figure out how to do it later.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to do like Mankato on Thursday? I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but yeah, sure, we'll do it. So that was the thing. It's just say yes all the time and figure it out on the backside.
There you go.
It was just relentless that way.
So Harsh Reality that's pretty much your baby. You've had it forever. I know that you're doing it.
35 years.
I know you're doing it now still with Jen Dean and is it Chavi? Guitar player?
Donnie.
Donnie.
Donnie DeVici.
DeVici, that's right.
That guy is
DeVici.
a phenom. That guy's he's from another planet.
Yeah.
He does this like I don't know if you remember like the Shrapnel records, stuff like that. I think it's Michelangelo with the two guitar necks.
Yep.
He does that shit, man.
Where did he get a two guitar neck guitar?
He doesn't have two guitar neck guitar. He puts one on like a upright stand. And
okay, and he just goes over.
And
all right, cool.
I got to talk to some folks. We got to get him one built because it's phenomenal.
I got to talk to like maybe Robert Bomber might build.
Okay.
There's a couple of people. I'll get you a couple of names. And then of course you got Jason on vocals.
Yeah. Jason Lambert on vocals. He started January of was it January 2025? Was it January 2024? So he's been with us a year and a half now.
That's awesome.
Never been in a band before.
Yeah, he came to me and he said, "Hey, I just joined this band," and he told me which one, and I'm like, "Dude, that's great." And I go, "I didn't know you even sang." He goes, "It's my first band."
He when Odie had left, this is probably about 15 years ago. Odie had left, and I was looking for a replacement, and Jason had inquired about it, and
That long ago.
yeah.
Okay.
And then Odie came back. He basically vanished off the face of the earth for like 3 weeks. And then showed up right before a show, literally at 4th Street Station. We were recording a live album and did the show. He showed up the night before. I'm back. I'm like, okay, we'll do it.
All right. Like you said, take the gig and then figure out how it's going to work.
Exactly. But then, Harsh Reality went away for a little while, and I resurrected it. I've been trying to resurrect it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And just
I remember you reached out to me at a time where I was like, not even thinking about singing again.
Okay.
You know, I was like,
out.
this is like, I've been in covers for so long. I've been doing this for so long. I've got all this other stuff going on. I just didn't feel like I could do it, and I still don't. I mean, I'm not in an original band now.
You're a hell of a vocalist. I know I'm gonna ask.
Well, I still thank you for that. It was really cool.
But I ended up hitting up Jason. Like I say, 15 years later.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Jason, you still want to sing for me?
Do you still have
"What?
a voice? Do you got a voice?
Are you
man?
fucking kidding? Like, no. Are you still interested? I got an opening. Come down.
That's awesome.
And
That
he
is really
came
cool.
down, and our very first show we did with Black Flood Diesel.
Yep.
At
Skyway,
the
right?
Skyway.
Yep.
Which is weirdly interesting because when I released Witness to It All, I think it was the Witness to It All release. We had an EP out before them. I think it's Witness to It All. We had Black Flood Diesel open up for us at 7th Street Entry. And then like 6 months later, I think we opened up for their CD release. So Black Flood Diesel, Greg Moog, fantastic band, fantastic guys. He's got White Crosses going now. That's also just killer band. Shout out to them. But yeah, I mean, we've had a long history together with that.
So are you doing a new recording yet, or what's going on?
That's
with
coming up this winter.
This winter? Okay.
We're booked through December for shows.
Okay.
And I'm too damn old to be dragging gear around in the snow in Minnesota. I don't want to do it. I don't.
I say that every Friday when I put stuff in my vehicle to drive for 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you're just asking for trouble out there. I mean, January, February, it gets 20 below. It's hard on vehicles. It's hard on people.
Yep.
And I said, let's not try to do it in the winter. We're doing original music, so it's not like we're making loads of money.
Right.
It's tough to make money in the original music scene. I've kind of figured out we've been around long enough. I'm getting good gigs. I've figured out the merchandising end of things. I've got songs in with some film and TV and stuff like that that are earning me some money.
Oh, good.
I'd say it's workable, but
Cool.
we have to work on it. It's working at it constantly.
Yeah.
Our merch table is monstrous. We did
Who's
Rockfest.
footing the bill to start the merch table?
Me? But I did it very punk rock style.
Okay.
When I put the band back together, I'm not making much money outside of rock and roll. Rock and roll literally is all I do.
There you go.
I don't do a day job anymore. I just do the rock and roll. I got some residuals on some videos and then other stuff that I make a little bit off of, but it is just rock and roll. I don't have a day job. I run sound here and there for different people, but I don't work a day job anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to get the merch back up and going. So I took what I had, which was me. I can make jewelry, all this type of stuff. I make this jewelry.
Yeah.
I figured out I needed to use T-shirts. I don't have a bankroll to do T-shirts because T-shirts cost money.
Yeah.
Well, I used to be an art major. So I made some stencils and I got some latex paint. And I would get up, I would make myself breakfast, have my coffee, lay out my coffee table, and print T-shirts all day long.
Just do them yourself?
Yeah, and I wouldn't do just one T-shirt. I got like, I think 9-10 different T-shirt designs I got going now, which is a mistake a lot of bands make, is they'll dump, $1,000 into a run of T-shirts. Yeah, we got shirts. Yeah, you got $1,000. You got like what 100 of all the same goddamn shirt. How many times is somebody gonna buy your same fucking shirt?
I explain that to others too. I mean, TNT, the AC/DC thing that I did at the time that I was doing that, my cousin Mark, the one I babysat for,
He survived then.
he survived, but at that time he was just getting into screen printing, and he needed somewhere to put his new 4-screen press.
Okay.
And I was like,
Hey.
my basement is perfect for that. So he put that in my basement, and I would, like you, just start making shirts. And I think TNT had like 9 or 10 different designs too, because you're absolutely right. If you got a fan out there that paid for that shirt, guess what? They'll buy another one and another one and another one, as long as you give them a variety.
Exactly. As long as there's a variety of things to buy. Otherwise, if they walk up and all they see is the same shirt you've been selling for the last 2 years because you bought freaking 100 of them,
I got that
they
one.
already own it. They want to give you money, but they can't because you don't have anything new for them.
There you go.
So I will sell anything at my merch table.
Okay.
We did Rockfest, and I went up to Viking Rocker John and go, where's the merch area for it? He goes, well, it's going to be right around the corner there. You can set up as much as you want or whatever. I'm like, okay. I go around the corner, and it's literally like a dark gravel alley. It's around the corner from all the Nationals merch. There's no lights back there. I'm like, oh, good God.
That's not going to sell you.
I'm like, that's
merch.
not going to sell me anything. I got a lot of merch.
Yeah.
I said, can I have tables? He goes, yeah, you can. Any table you find here, if nobody's using it, you can have. So I grabbed the merch. Girls, you got a mission. Go get me tables. We got 9 goddamn tables. And then I sent Jason off with a 150-foot extension cord because there was no light in that back alley.
We're going to get some light back here.
We're getting light back here. So we set up 9 tables, and then I kind of use them on stage a little bit. They're kind of these party lights. They got lasers, and they got, it's all this stuff. And I set up those lights all around the perimeter because we weren't using them at Rockfest. They got their own lighting rig.
Yep.
So I set up all my usual stage lights around the perimeter of this dark alleyway, and all of a sudden there's 9 tables, all of them loaded with merch.
Mm-hmm.
And these lights go, it looks like there's a goddamn rave going on in the alleyway. And people are like coming around the corner like, what the fuck's going on there?
Yeah,
and
merch.
Like, come here, buy stuff.
All right.
We sold close to $2,000 worth of stuff.
Well, there you go.
So, and I was selling everything. Like I said, I make jewelry, sell jewelry. I sell goddamn lighters. I sell Dungeons and Dragons dice. If I can sell something, it's going to be
Wait a
on
minute.
my
Is there a harsh reality Dungeons and Dragons dice?
No, there's not. But you know something? If I can buy the Dungeons and Dragons dice for
just put an H on one and an R on the other.
I could maybe do that. It's not a bad idea.
A little glue and some gold leaf. You got an H and the R.
Stranger Things had hit.
Yeah.
And with the Metallica stuff, and everybody kind of got into that, and so a lot of the metalheads started playing D&D again.
Oh yeah.
And I went, well, if they're playing D&D, they're going to come to my table. Holy shit, you got dice. And it happened. Like, you're selling fucking dice? I'm like, yeah, this is cool.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, whatever I can sell. I don't limit things to stuff with only my band name on it.
Right.
If
that's a lot of stuff to carry to every gig, plus a full heavy-ass bass rig.
I don't want a day job. That's the entire thing. I could work a day job and support myself with that, or I can sell D&D dice at shows. I can sell band patches for all different bands at my shows.
Do you ever consider going to any kind of festival and just being a vendor at a festival? Have you ever done that?
I've been asked about that.
If you have that big of a setup, why not just go and be a vendor sometimes?
I'm a rolling record store, basically. I'm like an old school rolling record store, like a head shop records. I sell incense. I sell lighters. I sell one-hitters.
That's awesome.
I sell playing cards. I mean, it's just like anything. If I think I can make a buck off of it, I'll sell it.
There you go.
Absolutely, because that keeps my band on the road and keeps it running, and it keeps it without me having to work a shitty day job and pump that money into it.
Yeah.
And people, oh yeah, but you're not selling your stuff. Like, I don't give a damn. I don't have to work a day job. You do. Shut the fuck up.
So somewhere within this 35 years, you joined another band. Tell me how that happened.
I joined a couple different bands. I was in a...
You know which one I'm talking about,
I do know which one you're talking about. I do know. I think you just had somebody from that band on.
I did.
I joined All the Pretty Horses.
Yeah. How did that happen? Tell me that.
That was during a period where Harsh Reality wasn't going. I had been playing with a band called Jesus Chrysler with a bunch of fun guys and things like that, but
I
more
remember
hard rock.
Jesus Chrysler.
But I wanted something more, and there were certain things I was feeling about myself and things like that. And I had liked all the Pretty Horse. I liked the power of it. I liked the visual. I liked the theatrics of the stage show. I had been a fan of that band for a long time.
Yeah.
And they had an ad up, and they were looking for a bass player, and I went to apply, and they found somebody, and oh, okay, I missed that vote. And then a couple months later, only 6 months or so, ad went back up. They're looking for a bass player. Their bass player evidently had some issues and kind of self-destructed on stage in New York. Makes for a great rock and roll story. But they were looking for a bass player.
Yeah.
And I went down and I met up with Venus, and like I said, I was a fan of the band for a long time, and I was kind of in awe. Like, oh my God. So and she gave me a couple CDs, and she gave me a list of like 9 songs, and said, okay, can you come in, and would like to have you in about a week. You know, Venus talks very quiet.
Yep.
So she's not like me. She's quiet. She's dark, spooky. I'm the angry one. So can you learn like 3 of these songs? We'll have you come in a week, and we'll have you audition. Okay, cool. And I take it home, and like I had already been doing music for, I don't know, 12, 15 years at that time. So I kind of knew my way around things. I got the CDs. I look at this list. It's not just a list of songs to learn for the audition. It's literally a printout list that's a stage list. You know,
Okay.
it's a show list. You know, these are the songs she's playing on stage. I know that. I look at it, and I wanted in the band bad.
Okay.
Because it would help me become the Tempest you see before you. And I also really loved the music, and they were also one of the upper bands and things like that, so it would elevate me musically as well. And I started to work on the songs, and I was fanatical about it. I would get up in the morning, and before I would even go into work, I would try to run through as many of the songs as possible. I would bring a bass in my car with me to work. On my lunch break, I would bring it in and try to run through the songs.
Yeah.
After work, I would get done. I would come home. I would run through the songs before I would allow myself to make dinner. Then I'd run through the songs again after dinner.
And was it a half-hour set or an hour set or a
like
90?
like a 40, 45-minute set,
So
something like that.
you were committing some time to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted it. I wanted it.
Yeah.
I was going to get this gig. Either that or I was going to like burst into flames. There was no option.
And how did the audition go?
I walked in, and Venus was there, and Jandine was there, and Venus, evidently they hadn't been having very good luck with the auditions. People had been coming in, and sometimes they wouldn't know a single song. Sometimes they'd know one song, but they couldn't play it all the way through. So that expectations were kind of not really there.
Right.
And Venus was like, so, okay, so did you have time to go over the songs? She's all nice and polite and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I went over the song. I said, hey, can you tell me something? Is this your current set list? Is this what you're playing on stage? Well, yeah, that's from one of our shows. That's what we're playing on stage. Did you have a chance to learn? You at least learn 1 or 2 of them? I said, this is your stage set. I said, yeah. I go, I learned all of it. And she said, in 5 days? Yeah, I learned all of it. Jandine, like, her ears pricked up. She's back by the room. Like, what? Who is this person? and you learned the whole everything. I said, well, I learned all of them except for I think this 1 or 2 because you didn't put those on the CD, so I have no idea what they sound like. So I didn't learn 1 or 2 of them that were like on the. I think they had 11 on the list. I learned 9 of them because the others weren't on the.
Yeah,
CDs.
they were probably brand new and whatever.
Something like that. Anyway, Venus was very doubtful. She hadn't been having very good luck with the auditions. She goes, well, okay, can you play the first one? Yeah, let's play the first one. We fired up right through it. She's like, okay, are you able to do the next one? The hardest thing about the audition was I couldn't remember the names of the songs with how to play.
Yeah. Don't change the order. Let's just go through the order.
Just play me 3 notes of it, and I'll know it.
Oh, yeah.
That type of thing. And we went through the second song. Do you know the third one? Yes, Venus, I know the third one. We got through like 5 or 6. And at that point, she became a believer that I actually knew all the songs.
Right.
And Jen Dean was very, very pleased.
Had that been the first time you met Jen Dean?
It was the first time I met Jen Dean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I learned the whole set list for the audition. The only person who had ever walked into an All the Pretty Horses audition and known every single song and been able to play them all the way through had been Jen Dean up to that point.
Look at that.
And there I am.
Rhythm section. Go get it.
And
cool.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about a little bit. Venus was kind of thinking, well, maybe we'll go this direction, maybe this, and she's thinking of some other punk rock players and things like that. And Jen Dean is like, it's going to be Tempest.
While you were there at the audition?
Not at the.
Okay.
I was already gone. I'm like, I'm hoping I get the audition.
Yeah.
And Jen Dean, I just told you, I am not playing with you if you don't hire Tempest.
Nice.
So,
very cool.
So
now, what year was that then?
That would have been 2003, 2004.
Okay.
I did a little mini show at their warehouse space. They used to throw these real goth parties and stuff like that. They're epic. I did a little. They had me come in. It was just like the weekend after the audition. They had me come in and sit in on a couple songs. But my very first appearance with All the Pretty Horses was at First Avenue.
Okay.
And it was opening for Peaches. Huge.
Yeah.
I should probably backtrack a little bit. Now, you can stop me if this gets into weird territory or whatever. I don't think anybody is in doubt watching this video that I'm trans, okay? I haven't always been Tempest. When I did the audition for All the Pretty Horses, that was my gateway to coming out. That's one of the reasons why it was so important for me.
Yeah.
I knew Tempest was inside me. I knew I needed something to kind of help me get through that.
Yep.
And that band was going to be part of it. I had never been out of the house presenting as female.
Okay.
At that point.
So this show was your first time doing
First
that?
Avenue, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be Tempest on stage. And Venus is like, whoa, maybe slow down. There's going to be a lot of people there. You may want to think about this because usually it's a fairly traumatic experience trying to come out. A lot of fear of being in public and things like that.
Was Jen Dean already there?
Jen Dean was already there.
So that gives you a little more confidence too. You've got two people there,
and you're wrapped up in the trappings of the stage and the theatrics and everything. So it was a very comfortable place for me to come out.
Okay.
But literally, the first time I ever appeared in public as Tempest was on the main stage of First Avenue in front of 800 people.
Now, what made you choose the name Tempest?
It chose me.
Okay.
The moment I had messed around with a couple other names, the moment I tried on Tempest, it felt perfect. It's who I've always been.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine myself being anybody else. It fits me, my personality, everything, to a T. So my name was always in search of me. I just got lost.
So that show, opening for the Peaches, how did that end for you then?
Perfect. I went up there like first time ever out in public. Everybody's expecting me to be really nervous, like, and I go up there. I'm just ripping into the bass. I'm like, I run up on the drums, like, and Jen Dean's like, what the fuck is with her?
Your inner Kiss just came out right there.
Exactly. I'm channeling a little bit of Wendy O. Williams and a little bit of Gene Simmons all at the same time.
Did you have the nipple?
I hadn't quite done that because I didn't have boobs at that point.
Well, I mean, the Wendy O. Williams.
I had this. I bought a latex miniskirt. It was a glorified belt, probably about that wide. And I decided to wear that for the stage. It was really sexy and everything. But the thing with latex is when you move around a lot, it tends to kind of roll up, kind of like a balloon. And so it started rolling up, and I had to roll it down. And I play another song, and I have to roll it down. And about the third song, I'm like, fuck this. Grabbed it, threw it out in the audience. And
so then you're just in underwear.
Jen Dean is like, what the fuck did she just do? What is she made of? It's like, because this was me all along. This is where I belong.
Awesome.
So
that's very cool. So then that band is your gateway into a whole new life. How long did that band go, and give me some of the biggest experiences you had in that group?
Well, 2 months after that, we were on tour in New Zealand.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was living full time as Tempest by then.
Nice.
So literally, Jen Dean puts it, I was shot out the tranny cannon. Nobody transitioned that
How the
fast.
heck do you get a tour in New Zealand? Just
There was
a
there was a
Minneapolis
film
band. And,
called Venus of Mars,
Oh.
produced by Emily Goldberg, and it was about Venus and all the pretty horses. And the film is fantastic, and it was getting a lot of notoriety.
I've seen it.
And it opened a lot of doorways. There's like film festivals and stuff, and it got us over into New Zealand. And so we went over to New Zealand, and that was my first tour outside the country. It was definitely an adventure. I almost didn't make it.
Drinking, partying,
Nope, I don't drink. I don't party. I don't do any drugs. I didn't do
losing
any
your
back then.
passport.
Like I said, I played in a band called Jesus Chrysler,
Yeah.
and my gear had been down at their space, and I had to pull it all out right before we went off to New Zealand and things like that. And Shags, the drummer, smoked a lot of weed. A lot of weed. And I had the same vest I tend to wear and stuff like that. And so I had lugged equipment around. And evidently, I had enough contact with marijuana to where I got off the plane and the drug dog keyed in on me. And so Jen Dean's the church lady. She goes right through. All right, she's right through.
Yeah.
Venus is dark and spooky, has a little bit too much metal on. So it gets pulled aside. All right, check her out a little bit. Okay, you're free to go. I get there, and they get me in. I got the bracelet. Everything's going off, and the dog comes up, and it sits down, and evidently that's what a dog does when it senses drugs or something like that. And then we were, okay, come here. And I get pulled aside. And they pull off all my luggage and everything. And I go in this giant room with these huge steel tables. They're taking everything I own out and spreading it around. And so, when was the last time you did drugs? I don't do drugs. Yeah, but you're our drug dog keyed on you. I don't know, dude. You're drug. You're your dog. So I have no idea. Train your dog better. I have no idea. And so we went through that, and they're just hammering me. It's like,
But they couldn't find anything other than
I
the
didn't
scent.
have anything. I don't do anything.
Right.
I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't do any drugs.
Okay.
And I'll preface that with back then. I'll tell you another episode a little bit later on where I got myself messed up, but I got myself clean again. So I'm back to that sober lifestyle, and it's good because I wasn't good on anything. So, but yeah, they did not. We were all look weird. Rock and roll band coming from America, and they're expecting somebody to have drugs, and evidently it was going to be me, but I didn't have any.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't have any.
I had blood red colored hair back then.
Yeah.
I didn't have the bleach blonde. It was colored blood red, and to keep the blood red looking really red, you have to touch up the dye every now and then.
Okay.
And so I had this little, because you're supposed to put things in a clear plastic container for flying internationally. So I had this little bottle of red hair dye, and it was kind of clear plastic, and it was in my suitcase, and they pull it out. Look at him going, hair dye, like thinking it was
it's
blood
like,
or something. I don't know what he
hair.
thought it was. But he's looking at that, and they finally let me through. It took like an hour. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'm gonna get sent back to the United States, and they're threatening me with that. I was scared.
So you had Venus and Jen Dean out there, like, where the heck?
And then I finally see that they finally give me my amplifier back, because I flew over there with my amp head, and it was in a Anvil flight case.
So you guys actually flew to New Zealand with gear?
Well, with heads and guitars.
Okay.
We didn't bring the speakers or anything. And it was a Carvin Redline amp. I still play those today.
Yep.
But the Anvil flight case had like a fist-sized hole in the side. I'm like, oh, fuck.
From what?
Mishandling on the airplane.
Just bouncing around?
Yeah.
But the head was fine?
Well, there's the rest of the story.
Oh, God.
This is story time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Stories. So we get back to the hotel room, and like, I got to check this out. We're supposed to be playing the next night. And I'm like, okay. Doesn't seem to have any damage to the amp. There's just a ginormous hole in the side of the case. Amp looks fine. So I'm like, all right. So I go and I plug in the voltage adapter, and I test it out with like a laptop or something. The voltage adapter's fine. And then I go to plug in my bass head, and then I turn on the power button. I've flown like 30 some hours at that point to get to New Zealand.
Yeah.
First international tour ever of my life. Lifelong dream coming true. I'm in a touring rock and roll band going overseas.
Yep.
I hit that power button and flames shot up 3 feet
Oh
out of the
God.
amplifier.
Oh my
And then
God.
it went dead.
Oh my God.
And it weighs, with the flight case and everything, it probably weighed about 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah.
And I had to lug that around New Zealand for the next 3 weeks.
And it not
And
get
it was
any use
dead.
out of it. So you had to rent amps.
Yeah.
And I mean, that must have been pretty stressful right out of nowhere with less than a day. And how did that happen? Who you rented from other bands?
We had a tour manager, Mad Matt, and
Okay.
he took care of that for us.
Okay.
He got a hold of some music stores. And it wasn't my dream experience, put it that way. It was like, I brought this
Right.
all the way over, and I'm thinking of playing these big shows and things like that. And they're bringing these little PV combo amps. They'll do the job, but
Now I see you doing posts all the time where you've done surgery on things. This is obviously before you learned some of that.
on amplifiers and stuff, I can do some repair on things like that. I can't do power amp diagnostics and things
Gotcha.
like that. I can replace volume knobs. I can replace sliders. I can replace jacks. You know, a lot of like the basic hardware I can fix and everything.
You can put out a 3-foot flame, but you're pretty not necessarily able to fix what a
Well, because a lot of those are integrated circuit chips and things like that,
Gotcha.
that you need to diagnose. I don't know how to do. I'd love to find out how to do that.
So how long was the New
actually-
Zealand tour?
You'd love what I just did to one of my bass guitars.
Tell me.
I built in an onboard distortion.
Okay.
So
So you can get your Lemmy Kilmeister on anytime.
I don't have to have pedals or anything. And I have distortion built in.
Now, bass distortion is always very tricky.
Yeah.
So what type of distortion did you use because to get that girth but not have it fuzz out and be all mid-rangey?
Well, it's one of the reasons why I really love the Carvin Redline series amp
Okay.
and the BXR 1200 series. I've got 5 of them, something like that. I've got like 6 full bass stacks. It's insane.
Yeah.
But those are my favorite bass amps because they've got a pre-shaped section for a pre-EQ. Then they've got a 3-band with sweepable mid parametric type EQ. And then you've got a 10-band graphic EQ.
Oh my.
You've got a built-in noise gate. You've got a built-in compressor. So you can get any sound.
You can round it
want.
out. You can grit it out.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you need.
You can dial that in. So I tended to use a metal zone. Still one of my very favorite heavy metal pedals.
Yep.
It gives me that grit, that chunk. I scoop some of the mids, but not all the mids because then you lose the definition.
Yeah.
I try not to have too much rumbly bass. I try to have enough high end, probably right around the 2K range, but then starting to roll off anything above 4K because that shit fucking hurts. That's just pain.
So then did you basically take a pedal, like the guts of a pedal, and just kind of put a couple holes in it for the knobs
Basically,
and put it right on the bass?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Wow.
So-
Okay. All right.
It wasn't a metal zone pedal because the guts of those are pretty big.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those smaller, like slim line ones, and I
Yep.
just gutted that and shoved it in.
Very cool. Very inventive.
Because I'm going to go up for a good friend of mine, Tank from Outlaw Saint.
Yep.
His birthday is tomorrow at Route 47, and it's Mad Mike's Fun House, and they never let bass players bring up their pedals. And I've played there a couple times, and I always miss having my distortion because that's my sound. And so I'm like, all right, screw this. I'm going to build a bass that has that in it so I can have it on stage just for that place.
Nice.
So I did that just like 2 days ago I built it. So
I may have to come tomorrow just to watch.
there you go.
See how it works out. That's
We're
cool.
just doing a couple songs, but it's Tank's a good friend of ours. He's been at this for a long time. So
Same
we
with me.
wanna come out and show
He did
our
our
appreciation.
my show a few weeks back. I'm still in the editing mode of that.
Okay.
I'll be putting that out too. All right, so we got into all the pretty horses into the first tour. You're barely in the band and you're over in New Zealand. How long does that last and how does that end?
I think that was like 3 weeks in New Zealand. We actually did a segment on 2020.
Okay.
The documentary show that was on night TV, but it was in New Zealand. It didn't air in America. It aired in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Someplace it's still out there.
Probably on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, you can probably find it
Okay.
somewhere. But we did an interview with that, and then we flew back, and we had to do, I think it was the Silver Docks Film Festival, or no, it's the Discovery Channel Film Festival, because they were showing the film. They wanted the band to appear. We flew back to Washington, D.C. So from New Zealand, we flew to L.A., and then L.A. to D.C., and the stopover in L.A. is how I got my endorsement deal with Carvin back then.
Nice.
Because I was carrying 50 pounds of their shit for the last 3 weeks. And I called them up, and I got a hold of a rep, and I'm like, what are you going to do for me? I'm like, well, we can't get anything out to the airport that quick. We would if we could. I'm like, I'm on the Discovery Channel. I'm using all this as leverage.
Yeah.
And so I got, it wasn't a full ride, but I
No,
got
you got
a
a great
sweetheart
discount.
Deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always I've thrown my hat in the ring a few different times, and the best that they would give me was like a 60% off deal, and I'm like, oh,
That's exactly what I got, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if I was able to take that today, I'd probably do it. Back then, I was like, I think I'll get better. Kind of one of those things. So, how long were you in All the Pretty Horses before it went to funk?
Well, I mean, we did a lot of cool things. Like I said, we did the Silver Docks Film Festival. We got to play CBGB's in New York City.
Okay.
That was so cool. That's an infamous club.
Yeah.
And you're standing there on stage, and you're seeing all these gouges and like stuff written on the stage. Who was there? Who's there? Whose place am I standing in?
Yeah.
We got to play there for the very last Halloween party they ever had.
Okay.
CBGB's, the people that don't know, they got ran out. Basically, they had a long-term lease for the club on the space, and it's in New York City. And real estate is at a premium. And so to sign a new lease, they wanted something like $1.4 million a year.
Yeah.
It's...
Had they originally owned it,
Yeah, if
that
they had originally
spot,
owned it, but
then they could have
they had
been
signed like a 40-year lease.
right, but
So they were paying what they were paying.
what
back
I'm
in the
saying is
60s.
if they had owned it, they could have used, the classic, center. That's, what do they call that? Where it's I can't even think of the term now, but it's history. So
Historical value.
yeah, so they couldn't take it away from you, but because they leased it, they never owned it. They could do that.
So they got ran out. So everything was Halloween 2005. I think that's the date. Could be 2006. I could be wrong. So,
Yeah.
but then all the Pretty Horses, we were all over the place with that band. We were playing constantly, and I was doing exactly what I'd done in Harsh Reality. I was not saying no to any show. I would say yes to it.
Right.
And that would weird Venus out a little bit. It's like, well, you should really check the date. And just, like, yes, just take yes. Yeah, but it's going to be, like, no, I don't care. Yes. So we were all over the place. We did a lot of shows. And the band had been nominated for the Minnesota Music Academy Award before, like 3-4 times, and had lost. Well, not lost, but didn't win. Don't want to say lost. There's only so many nominated. Even getting nominated is an honor. But
That's what they say.
Venus was always like, they're never going to give it to us. We're trans. They're never going to give it to us.
Never gave it to Avalanche. We were too metal.
And in 2006, we won.
Well, look at that.
And right as we won the Minnesota Music Academy Award for Best Hard Rock Band, Venus decided to launch her solo career.
Oh, jeez.
And ended the band. And it was tough because we were all very, very attached to that band.
Yeah.
We loved playing in that band. People loved the lineup of everything, but she wanted to go a little bit different direction. She had every right to do so. And she decided to end All the Pretty Horses and start up her solo career. And so we had our farewell show at the Triple Rock off of Cedar. The Triple Rock is now gone. That's a fantastic club.
I loved playing there.
We sold it out in 30 minutes.
Beautiful.
People were lined up around the block. I'd never seen anything like that. It was really cool.
Your band was pretty damn good, Tempest.
Thank you.
It was visually entertaining and aurally entertaining. It's really good stuff.
Well, that's the entire goal of rock and roll, isn't it? To entertain people. You don't want to see what you see every day.
Right.
I don't understand the whole shoegaze rock thing, and I kind of like some of the music from the grunge movement, but I didn't understand the stage show. Just a bunch of dudes up there wearing flannel, staring at their shoes. I Lemmy once said, "You don't want to see the average guy on stage when you go see a rock and roll show. You want to see an alien from another planet. You want to see something you don't get every day." I took that to heart. That's what you want.
Yeah.
And so when All the Pretty Horses ended, I immediately restarted Harsh Reality.
Right.
And
Took Jendine with you.
Jendine came with me. She almost didn't come with me. Our very first rehearsal, because Harsh Reality was definitively much, much more metal than what All the Pretty Horses was.
Right.
And we did the first rehearsal, and she's, "I can't fucking play this shit."
Whoa.
Jendine's a phenomenal drummer, but she wasn't used to playing the metal stuff so
Okay.
much. And there's aspects of playing and things like that.
And she was doing like big band stuff back in the day and jazz and all that. But just listening to her play, it's like, come on, you got that in you.
So she gets off the drum set, walks back behind, and she's, "I can't fucking play this goddamn shit." And I'm like, "Practice more." And then I walked away from her.
Oh, wow.
I didn't give her an
Tossed
option.
down the gauntlet.
I didn't give her an option not to be in the band. I just told her to practice more.
Yeah.
And so we reformed Harsh Reality. Odie came back on vocals. We hooked up.
Was that when Vim joined?
No, that was Eric on guitar.
Okay.
And he was a phenomenal player as well. I'm gapping on his goddamn last name. Sorry, Eric. I'm old. I get forgetful. He's a phenomenal guitar player. And we start up Harsh Reality, and Jendine and I's chops were really good together from being in All the Pretty Horses for so many years.
Yep, and you could just kind of
And
intuitively
Odie
know where
picked
you're
things
going.
up right from where we left off with Harsh, because we're a machine. Eric did a fantastic job of coming in, and we hit the ground running, and we just show after that was basically, I was going to bludgeon the music scene into accepting Harsh. And I also took some of the elements that I loved about All the Pretty Horses.
Yeah.
I upped the theatrical thing. Everything had to be a stage presentation. We had to have characters. We had to have looks. It couldn't just be people up there in everyday clothes. That was not going to happen.
Okay.
It needed to be a show, because people pay money to see a show. Give it to them. And so we came out with that, and we did a whole bunch of shows. By 2008, we were a touring monster. 2008, we did 199 shows.
How do you even find that many venues? Were you doing more than 5-state area then?
We had done all the way through the desert Southwest, and once again, I was not saying no to shows.
But who is booking them?
Me.
So you're calling venues outside the state and just trying to get you in?
I would send them the press pack and things like that, because the band was so visual, and because we had the tie with All the Pretty Horses, and we had such a long history, and the band was incredibly visual. We'd send them a little video or some photos and stuff like that, and they go, "Holy fuck, what is this?"
Yeah.
And we were opening for Metal Church. We opened for Voivod, Loudness, Faster Pussycat, Rhino Bucket. There's more, but it's, once again, I'm old and forgetful.
Yeah.
And once again, that all builds a good resume.
Yeah.
And we were doing some really cool event-style gigs. And that would
Now, were
open
you
doors
working a
wherever.
full-time job then too?
I was working a full-time job as a network administrator for a college here in town.
Okay.
And
So does that give you time to sit over here and send out press packs and make phone calls and send emails?
well, they didn't know it, but it did.
Fair enough.
Because I was the network engineer, and I'd be back in the computer room, so I could send out whatever the fuck I wanted to.
There you go.
So,
All right. Yeah, I tried to manage Avalanche for a while, and and we had our little post office box, and we did fanzines and this and that, and it's a job, man. I was probably a grumpy ass in that band, and they'd be like, "What is your problem?" I'm like, dude, just show up to the gig and play, because you don't want what I'm dealing with. So more power to you if you were able to
it's a lot of work.
that.
I mean, I still do it to this day.
Yeah.
I book everything for Harsh Reality. I book everything for my side project, Chick Singer, which is a cover band.
I did see a couple of posts on that. I want to check that out one
So
of these days.
it's got Jade Rochelle on vocals. It's got Jendine on drums. It had Possum Possum Willie was the guitar player that originally joined with us.
Okay.
And partway, he got in simply because, goddamn, I got to have a band with a guitar player named Possum Willie.
Possum Willie.
I'm like, if you walk in, your name's Possum Willie, and you can play guitar even half-ass, I'm fucking hiring you.
Well, what if he
But
just
he was
stands
good.
there like
He was
dead
good.
like a possum?
What's that?
What if he just plays like a possum the whole time?
Well, that was actually Jason's first gig with Harsh Reality.
Oh, really?
Jason,
Because he didn't know what to do.
well, I mean, it was his very first gig. He'd never been in a band
Yeah,
before, anything.
right.
We'd rehearsed a few months, and it was with Black Flood Diesel, and there was like 230 people in the room. And Jason stood there.
He had a lot on his
Jason
mind.
was like a tree.
He had lyrics and delivery. That's it.
That
Lyrics,
was-
delivery.
And he just wouldn't move or anything. And I'd come up and rock out to him. And so,
I'm sure he's getting there now,
he's,
though.
He's getting there. He's definitely getting there.
takes a
He's
minute.
opening up. He did fantastic. He's come so far in a year and a half. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome.
So he's a great guy too with everything. So
The last question that I have,
okay.
where are you going within the next 2 to 5 years? Now, you were telling me you don't want a day job. You're going to take music probably till you're done,
Yeah.
is what I'm thinking. So what's your biggest
If I
plans in the
die
next year?
on stage, fucking put me in a box, smile. That's exactly how I want to go.
Let everyone else deal with the trauma. All right.
Well, I mean, Lemmy was on tour in Europe 4 days before his birthday, came back for his birthday, and then died 2 days later. The way I look at it, that's perfect timing.
Well, AJ Pero from Twisted Sister did die on stage.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
If I have to go, that's, and I've told people, I've had a heart attack last January. I've got PTSD because I did a bunch of stuff when I was a bit younger that I really shouldn't have. Got tied up in some really bad hard drugs and stuff like that. I managed to kick everything, but you pay a price.
Yeah.
You pay a price.
Yeah.
And it's done a number on my body in some ways.
I'm glad you were able to kick it, but
Yeah,
absolutely.
it was tough. It was a hard kick. I didn't go through rehab. I didn't do any of that. I wouldn't have made it through that type of stuff. I'm just too independent. I would have got bounced out, and it wouldn't have worked. I did it quite possibly the hardest way possible, which is I watched it kill my fiance.
Wow.
She ended up dead. She ended up dead in the river.
Wow.
And that's why
that reality was the rock bottom. Huh?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going that way. I'm not going that way. I was struggling to stay clean and get clean, but you relapse here and there and things like that. But then when that happened, it's like, no, I got to make some changes.
When I was young, I mean, I have nothing like that, but growing up, my mother was an alcoholic, and I saw her 6 nights a week just turn into this evil person. My uncle was an alcoholic, and I saw him the most friendly person except to his wife. And it was just, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to live that way.
That was what it did. I watched what it was doing to her, and that's when I started to try to get clean. But it was tough. It was.
Yeah.
It was. I had
you're in.
$1,000. I had $1,000 a month meth habit.
You're in, man.
And
addiction is addiction.
I
You're in.
managed to kick it and stay clean, and I've been clean since, all on my own. And it's tough. It's tough. But getting back to the question, where do I see Harsh Reality in the next 2 to 5?
Where do you see you? Not
do I see
necessarily
me?
Harsh Reality, but where
I see me
where
in
do
Harsh
you?
Reality. I don't see me in anything other than Harsh Reality or All the Pretty Horses. We just got back together in June.
It's true.
We did a reunion, and part of that goes back to we're all getting older. And when I had my heart attack, and also the death of my fiance and things, you start to realize what mortality is. And you realize that you walk this earth for a finite period of time, and you really, really need to make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked back at the 6-8 years that I literally fucking pissed away on drugs, that I lost, that I will never, ever get back. And when my body was so much better and younger, and I had so much more energy, and things didn't hurt, and things weren't breaking down on me, and Jendine was younger, and Venus was younger, and everybody. I pissed away those years, and I will never take that for granted again. So I'm going to make the most out of everything I possibly can for Harsh Reality, All the Pretty Horses, and Chick Singer until I can't fucking move anymore.
I don't think there's any better way to end it with that then. You know what I'm saying? Jeez, that's the way. Tempest, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on.
much for having me.
It's been awesome. Good night.